and a team of youth rising to its sports pinnacle. If they're to defend that title, there is much work to be done. Joe Kennedy tonight hopes to further derail their journey. The sun and heat of Miami, Florida. The Rockies open a weekend set tonight at Pro Player Stadium north of Miami. The Rockies at 55-72. The Florida Marlins, a game over 500, champions in '97, and champions, of course, last October. Maybe their team MVP a year ago was JP Juan Pierre, and he is having another sensational year in South Florida. And good evening, everybody. Along with George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Florida trying to make it to the playoffs again, and if it happens, it'll probably be via the wild card. And there's some teams they have to hop over, and the Rockies will be a factor because they play all of those teams, including the Marlins.
Well, they do, particularly these next 9 days. It's going to be a tough test for the Colorado Rockies, as it was in Atlanta, where they lost 3 straight. And what has to happen with these Marlins, they've got to jump over the Padres, Giants, and Cubs. Well, guess what? The Rockies are playing Giants and Cubs next week on the road at their home ballparks, where the Rockies have played very well at Petco in San Diego, so they could figure into this. They're just not scoring runs, though. The Marlins have not scored runs. That's puzzling to me. When you got a guy like Pierre leading off, that's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe, and they haven't pitched as consistently as they did a year ago, but there is time left. But the Florida Marlins will have to be very special in the next month or so. So it's the Florida Marlins and Ishmael Valdez with his 7th club against Joe Kennedy. That was a Gator. We'll come back to the Florida Tropics. Right, it's brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Buy Pizza Hut. Call Pizza Hut today to try the 4-for-all pizza for $11.99 and get all 4 pizzas any way you want it, only at Pizza Hut. And buy Gatorade. Is it in you? Good aerial shot of the football stadium, Pro Player Stadium, the home, of course, of the Miami Dolphins, and for now, the Florida Marlins. They hope to have a new home in the not too distant future, and there are ongoing talks between the ownership of the Marlins and the government here in South Florida. Clint Hurdle in his 3rd season with the Rockies, and anytime Clint comes to South Florida, there are always many tickets and passes to be handed out because Clint is originally from this area and has plenty of families still residing in the area. Here's his lineup tonight: Aaron Miles, Royce Clayton, Todd Helton, Vinny Castilla, to be followed by Jeremy Brunitz. Then Mark Sweeney getting a start in left field, hitting .368 with 4 home runs in limited duty in August. Charles Johnson with the gear on tonight, and George Piedro will be in center field. Joe Kennedy is on the hill, and here's Aaron Miles, and he takes strike 1 from veteran Ishmael Valdez, making his 4th start in a Florida uniform after a trade from San Diego about a month ago.
Yeah, he's been, seems like he ought to have a letter jacket with the Rockies right now, as many starts as he's had against them. He's 7-2 on all of his home games, but has really struggled out on the road at a 3-5 record, 8-2 versus the Rockies in his career, 2-0 in the year 2004.
And this is topped at the first baseman, Jeff Conine. Easy play for Conine. And let's take a look at the Budweiser scouting report tonight on Valdez.
Well, works both sides of the plate. He'll do just that with his fastball. Handle Helton very well. He's got to. This is one guy that has hurt him throughout his career. A familiar face to the Rockies, as we just mentioned, of all the starts, particularly this year. His 5th start versus the Rockies.
Royce Clayton had a couple of hits in last night's loss to the Atlanta Braves. The Rockies went down 6-4. Mike Hampton ended up picking up the win, his 10th of the year. Jamie Wright took the loss, and it swung on and missed by Clayton. Royce's average at .279, 8 home runs. He's driven in 49 and has been very, very steady with the glove. Behind 0-2, and on the outside corner, that's strike 3. Jim Wolf is the home plate umpire. It looked like he thought about it for a moment and said, yeah, that was pretty good. And he punches out Clayton. Here's Florida defensively. In the outfield, they have Miguel Cabrera in left, Juan Pierre in center, Juan Encarnacion is in right field, Lowell, Gonzalez, Castillo, and Conine, the 38-year-old, at first base. And there's Paul LaDuca, so strange to see him out of a Dodger uniform. But he's behind the plate for the Florida Marlins these days. 1-0 on Helton. And Todd takes ball 2.
Well, he works an awful lot like Pudge Rodriguez from a year ago. Same type of style of catching. He doesn't have the arm, obviously, but behind the plate calling the pitches. He likes to work fastballs away from the hitters. 3rd consecutive to Helton.
The 8 wins for Ishmael Valdez against the Colorado Rockies are the most he owns against a single opponent. And he's had Todd Helton's number throughout his career. Todd just 3 for 15 against Valdez. Rockies lost all 3 ball games to start this 12-game road trip, all 3 in Atlanta. And Helton a little tardy with the swing, 2-2.
And on a 2-1 pitch, LaDuca wanted to go to the changeup. It went fastball away. They're going right back out there again.
And Helton drives it left center and deep, way back, and it is up off the wall, and it'll be a double off the scoreboard. So Todd Helton with a 2-out double.
Now, as part of the baseball football field that it is here, the scoreboards in left field are in play. You've got to hit it over him for a home run. Helton realized that he got after this baseball pretty well. He's going to hit about halfway up the scoreboard in left center. Pierre will play it off of the wall. Another great look at it right there. I mean, fly to the baseball, extension by Helton, and the result. Now, one thing Juan Pierre's worked on is charging the baseball very quickly, release of the baseball to make up for the inadequacies of his arm at times.
And this ball is driven to center field. Juan Pierre is going to catch up with that one. So Vinny Castilla hit it hard. But it is an out. And the Florida Marlins dispatch to the Rockies despite the double by Helton in the 1st inning without any damage. Jack McKeon doesn't have the cigar in his mouth just yet. Nothing to celebrate. It's the 1st inning. 73 years young. And here's his lineup tonight as his club comes in a game over 500. Juan Pierre will lead things off, as he always does. And Paul LaDuca's in the 2-hole. Miguel Cabrera, Mike Lowell, Jeff Conine, Juan Encarnacion, Luis Castillo down in the lineup. Alex Gonzalez with some pop in the 8-hole. And the first pitch from Joe Kennedy is a strike to Pierre, who's really been swinging the bat well of late. Over his last 6 ball games, he's hitting all 6 to the tune of .522. And this is chopped at Miles. The infield shortens up, and even on a ground ball to second base, did you see how quickly Miles made the transition from glove to hand? And it was still not quite a bang-bang play, but within a step was Juan Pierre. Here's the Budweiser scouting report.
Well, first time through, very crucial for Kennedy. He's handled Pierre, I think, the top of the lineup will be a problem for him at times because of their speed. He needs to remain consistent. He's been very consistent when he has been healthy. Forget about the fish. I mean, this is an interleague thing with Tampa and Florida. Now with the Rockies, total different deal, and attack in a different way.
And a strike to Paul LaDuca. .310 average for LaDuca. Solid numbers. Obviously very similar to what he was doing in Los Angeles. He's maintained those same very good numbers here in Florida. In fact, his first at bat, he arrived in the 5th inning after the trade from Los Angeles to Florida. He got a pinch hitting appearance late in that ball game, and on the first pitch he saw from Rocky Biddle, he went deep. And he is gone very quickly against Joe Kennedy on 3 pitches.
Well, 3 fastballs. He went 2 fastballs away, the last down and in, and explosive at 90 to 92 miles an hour for Kennedy.
Let's take a look at the gloves tonight. Todd Helton a moment ago picked up his 35th double of the year. He's joined in the infield by Castilla, Clayton, and Miles. And in the outfield, it's Mark Sweeney, George Piedra in center field, and Jeremy Brunitz in right. Charles Johnson behind the plate. And the first pitch is strike 1 to Miguel Cabrera. Marlins in there at the belt, 0-2. When you talk about future stars in this game, this kid may have already arrived, and he's just 21. Look at those numbers: 25 home runs, 84 driven in, and a 305 average. And the average will go up slightly on a base hit to right.
Well, it seems like you look at the face and it looks like a high school senior. And then you look at the body and it looks like a very mature Major League Baseball player. And he plays the game as a mature baseball player. Cabrera.
Here's Mike Lowell. He's got an 11-game hitting streak going. And strike one on Lowell.
Well, one thing he concentrates to help him stay close, keep the head square. Look at that chin right there as it tucks in on that shoulder. That helps him keep everything closed on a pitch and drive to the baseball. You get your eyes at an angle, you're not going to get to have the same vision you would have as if when they're straight up. You have a tendency to look over the bridge of the nose.
0-2, great curveball, strike three, see you later.
Boy, Kennedy's got nasty stuff, doesn't he?
You can tell really quickly tonight that Joe Kennedy has his A game going. That was a great hook. We go to the top of the second inning with George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. It'll be Jeremy Burnitz to face Ismael Valdez.
It looks a lot like what the Atlanta Braves tried to do with Rockies hitters throughout that series, and that's move everything away from the hitters. Everything's working to the outside half of the place, staying out of the middle half.
Good discipline by Burnitz, staying off two close pitches, and he has the count in his favor, 2-0. Good numbers against Valdez. And he drives this one to the gap in right center field. It'll be cut off by Juan Pierre. Boy, speed never does have a bad day. So a solid single to right center for Burnitz. Leadoff man aboard for Colorado. And that'll bring to the plate Mark Sweeney. Outfield straightaway for Sweeney. And he shortened up as if to bunt and takes ball one. Hey, the best fantasy football games are on foxsports.com on MSN. Log on to play now. Well, actually, don't play now. Wait till the ball game's over. And 2-0. Rockies have done pretty well with Florida the last 20 encounters with the Fish, 14-6. Though they lost 2 of 3 at home earlier this year to Jack McKeon's club. (3-0) on Sweeney. Sweeney had only 2 at-bats in the Atlanta series. He was 0 for 2. And the 3-0's in there, 3-1.
In the younger days, Valdez would throw the ball by you at 90 to 95 miles an hour. Velocity not quite the same anymore for Valdez, so he will trick you with the curveball, changeup, fastball, try to sink it. Last pitch at 87 miles an hour.
Sweeney moves the bat here, and it'll reach the seats on the left side, 3-2.
Velocity is wonderful, but if you don't have control over it, it doesn't do you a bit of good. So it doesn't hurt to the guys. I get frustrated with guys with radar guns. Man, I got him at 96. Really, what's his record? Oh, well, he's 5-9. Then what good is it doing him? Oh, I got him at 87. What's his record? 15-5. Oh, okay, so he knows how to pitch a little bit.
Gives you an idea of arm strength, particularly with a young pitcher.
And the only thing I look at, Drew, all the time, the scoreboard just never lies. Tells the truth every night, whether it's in high school and college or low minor leagues or at the big league level.
Here's the 3-2 to Sweeney. Burnitz is moving, and that's going to turn into a double play. Roped right at Jeff Conine. And an easy double play. Sometimes you hit him hard and it doesn't work out.
That's part of the disadvantage you have on a 3-2 count. You start runners. Try to get a first and third situation working for you. See, Sweeney's going to swing the bat at a fastball, got the head out, jerked it right at it. Conine catches it, and an easy double play ball.
The good news is the Rockies have hit the ball hard in the first couple of innings against Ishmael Valdez. Strike one on Charles Johnson, swinging the bat now with 2 outs and nobody on. And that is a pretty shot. Charles Johnson on the '97 World Championship team for the Florida Marlins. And the 2-1 swung on and missed, 2-2.
Kind of funny thing in the way things change at times, Drew. Think about this. Charles, if he would have accepted the trade to LA, would have been replacing the guy that's behind the plate tonight, Paul Lo Duca.
You are right. Career numbers at Pro Player. And the 2-2. Shallow fly ball into right field, and Encarnacion got a good jump and tucks it away. It turns into a 1-2-3 inning, though. Jeremy Brunitz led off with a single, middle of 2, no score in FLA. No score in Florida. And for the Marlins, Jeff Conine playing first base will lead things off against Joe Kennedy. 11 pitches in the first inning for Kennedy, 11 strikes. So now he's 12 for 12 as he drops the big curveball in on the 38-year-old Conine.
Just dominating stuff shown by Kennedy in this ball game in this start. I mean, this has been fun to watch. This is Joe Kennedy in April and May.
And this is going to drop in, and Conine's digging towards second. He's going to have a double easily on a broken bat bloop hit down the right field line against a great pitch. I mean, that pitch may have been below the knees.
And don't forget, Conine's a guy that does play the outfield, so he has above average speed. When this ball gets hit to right field, he's thinking about nothing but to. I mean, it's out in no man's land. You can see that Miles has to give chase to it, gives way to Brunitz. By the time Brunitz gets there, there's no chance at all for Conine at second. Jack McKeon is a lot like Bobby Cox in the respect he likes fundamental baseball. Move the man over with nobody out. There it is. Uh-oh. Confusion. Cost you. Nope, got him.
Nope, just did get him at first. A close play, but Encarnacion is out.
Yeah, no argument at all from anyone. See, I mean, Joe went to go get the baseball, but that's a difficult play for Kennedy when he feels it, because now he's got to turn, spin, and throw the ball to first base. And Vinny thought that he was going to take the baseball. Let's watch a replay of it as Kennedy goes to get this baseball. Now, if he catches it, what he has to do is spin all the way around to throw it in this fashion. Vinny's just got to pick it up and then make the throw. Not an easy play by any means, but for Castilla, he makes it look easy.
And the Rockies are going to bring the infield in here in the second inning with a speedster up, switch hitting Luis Castillo. He takes ball one. Castillo, through most of his career, has hit either first or second. Second since Juan Pierre arrived from Colorado. But now he's hitting down in the lineup. Lo Duca's hitting in the 2-hole. Initially, Lo Duca was hitting 3, but the Marlins have not scored runs, so Jack McKeon trying to shake things up. In fact, they've gone 14 innings without scoring a run.
That's part of the reason that he sacrificed.
They're going to score one here. Castillo drives it up the middle. It's 1-0, Florida.
Castillo does so well as he just sits back on the back part of his back leg and just drive this ball to the right side where the pitch is thrown. Not a bad pitch by Kennedy. Unfortunately, with the infield in, it cost a run against the Rockies. Don't fall asleep with his speed at first base.
Alex Gonzalez has 18 home runs to match his career high set last year. He's never been a high average guy. Last year he hit 256, 244 career average. And Kennedy will pick to first, and Castillo, who stole 62 bases a couple of years ago, is back. In the air to deep left field. Sweeney going back. He's going to have to play it off the wall. And around third is Castillo coming to the plate. And the throw is in time for the out. Great throw by Royce Clayton and a nice job by Charles Johnson blocking the plate. Sweeney to Clayton to Johnson, cutting down one of the fastest men in baseball.
What I liked about it was Clayton went out deeper into the outfield to shorten the throw of Sweeney. And when you do that, you allow your strongest arm in the infield, which is more than likely Castillo, but at shortstop you put out Royce Clayton. See how deep he is, miles out of his way, but look at the accuracy of that throw. And then a tag applied by Charles Johnson, who's 3 feet out in front of the plate to catch this baseball and deny the run to the plate.
Alex Gonzalez nearly hit it out. So he's at second, and there are 2 outs. 6-2 on that relay. Here's the 1-0 to Ishmael Valdez. 2-0. Valdez handles the bat okay. That'll go foul. 2-1.
Let's go back and look at the last play. A fine throw by Sweeney off the outfield wall. So here's your first base umpire, Tony Randazzo. He came into the plate because he saw the play was going to happen, gets right in line with it so he can see it, and then accomplishes it, completes the play.
And you're saying, well, why is the first base umpire there? Everybody had to rotate because the third base umpire is going out and seeing if the ball's over the wall.
But here's the way the rotation actually works out right. Your third base ump goes out, second base stays. So now when you're the unoccupied base at third, I mean, McClellan has to go deep. Then that all that remains in. Wolf's got to go to third. The rotation comes back to the plate.
2 doubles and a single in the inning. Usually that means more than 1 run, but the Rockies cut one down at the plate. 1-0.
Well, we don't show you this very often. We'd like to, though, with Florida up 1-0. Look at the rotation here. Now, Tim McClellan's eyes were out here. He was watching the throw from there. Randazzo came in, so he's here at home plate. Jim Wolf hustles all the way down here. He's the home plate umpire. So here's your third. Here's home plate sitting over here at third base, and here's your first base umpire down here making all the calls. And you know, you don't see a lot of the hustle and the movement and how they work on all of this, but that's what makes all this work, and you eliminate any doubt or questions out of the either dugout when you hustle like those 3 guys just got through to performing their jobs.
Ishmael Valdez ready to go. George Pietro will lead things off in the top of the 3rd inning for the Rockies. He's getting a lot of playing time with Preston Wilson on the disabled list. Chu Freeman got a start last night. Chu picked up a base hit last night in that 6-4 win for Atlanta. The Rockies have now lost 5 straight on the road after winning 13 of 17 away from Coors Field. And overall, Colorado has lost 4 straight, 7 of 9 and 9 of 11, or 7 of 8, I should say, and 9 of 11. trying to straighten things out here in South Florida. Piedra keeps his at bat alive. 2 balls and 2 strikes. This is a Friday. I checked the calendar earlier, George. You were asking me what day it was. Sometimes on long road trips these things happen. Rockies lost their first 9 Fridays, won 9 in a row, and they lost last Friday, so they have to start another win streak. In the air, left field and deep, but it is playable for Cabrera, 1 out. Hey, this week the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week is back with the Atlanta Braves, as hot as anybody, and they'll be taking on the Giants of Barry Bonds. It could be a playoff preview. The Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week returns this week, 11 a.m. Mountain on Fox.
You know, you're talking about straightening out here in Florida with the after the 3 losses in Atlanta. That's not going to be easy. The Marlins hold a 34-18 record against the Colorado Rockies here in Florida. And Colorado returns the favor, I should say, and Mile High City 38-19 overall.
I think it's apropos that we show Trader Jack McKeon tonight, because the last time the Rockies were here, Jack McKeon was not the manager the first 2 ball games of a 3-game set. It was Jeff Torborg, as Kennedy is called out on strikes. And then Florida at 10 games under 500 after the Rockies had won a couple of ball games, made a move that really surprised many in baseball. They went and got Jack McKeon out of retirement to take over, and the rest, as the line goes, is history.
Well, I'll tell you something, though. It was amazing that Jack McKeon did not keep his job in Cincinnati.
He went 99 games, George.
99 and 67 in 1998. And in 99, he goes 85 and 77 and gets fired. Can't get a job back at the big league level. You look at his overall numbers, the major league totals, he is 845 and 782 coming into this year. But not only that, do you realize this man won 1,146 games in the minor leagues as a manager?
There's another guy around who won a ton of minor league games. He hasn't had the success yet at the major league level that Jack McKeon possesses. But a current Cincinnati manager, Dave Miley, won over 1,000 games in the minor leagues in the Cincinnati system.
I think there is such a rush, I should say, to hire so many young general managers. They want to put their own mark on their baseball team, so you see them hire a lot of young managers that have not toiled at the minor league level for as long as Jack McKeon or Dave Miley had performed their duties.
Clint Hurdle was a manager for 6 years in the minor leagues. This ball in the air, right field, and it'll be chased down by Encarnacion. So he takes a double at least away from Aaron Miles. 5 in a row set down by Ishmael Valdez. Running catch. Juan Pierre will lead things off in the bottom of the 3rd inning against Joe Kennedy. Vinny Castilla shortens up, and then he comes a charge in as Juan shortened up on his bat. He grounded to second his first time up, thrown out by Aaron Miles. Pierre brought a 308 average into the ball game, and this is a 2-hopper at Clayton. Big out, getting Juan Pierre to lead off.
Well, look, if you're Royce Clayton, you don't try to charge the baseball. You want to keep a level body, so when the ball's hit to you the way that it is, watch Todd Helton position himself at first base. See, Clayton's got his feet under him, weight distributed beautifully. Then here he never strides till the last second, and all Helton did was slide up the first base bag and make the catch.
Just 3 errors all year for Todd Helton at first base. Here we are in late August, and there's not an infielder for the Rockies with double figures in errors. Paul LaDuca. He struck out on 3 pitches his first time up, and he's now in a hole 0-2. It remains to be seen what happens with the Los Angeles Dodgers and how much they miss Guillermo Mota, Tom Martin. Of course, Darren Dreifert's now out for the year. And how much they miss their glue, Paul LaDuca.
Well, the Dodgers are playing the New York Mets tonight in New York, and Tom Glavine leads them in the 3rd inning 6-0.
Mets haven't scored 6 runs in a week's worth of games
Boy,
of
that's
late.
the truth.
And typically when Glavine's on the hill, they don't score at all. So
if we put 6 on the board and he's on the board out on the mound pitching, then it doesn't look good at all for the Dodgers. St. Louis over Pittsburgh 6-2 in the 3rd inning. How about that Houston-Chicago score? You kidding me? 15-7. Houston over Kerry Wood and the Chicago Cubs.
Cubs had won 8 of 9 coming into tonight's encounter. That misses, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. One out, 1-0 Florida. They've out hit the Rockies 4-2. Here's the 3-2 to LaDuca, and he stayed off it. No swing. Check out at first base with Tony Randazzo. So Paul LaDuca behind 0-2 works out a walk.
Well, I tell you, I thought Kennedy had him struck out on the 2-2 curveball. It did not get called for a strike. This type of kid, you throw the ball away as you did in his previous at bat. He goes to the right side. He gets the ball out of the ballpark.
Curveball drops in there for a strike on Miguel Cabrera. Gotta love this guy's future. His present's pretty good also. Cabrera.
Oh, I'm sorry, Drew. Go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
I was going to say Cabrera last year was 4th in the National League with runners in scoring position, hitting .375. This year with runners on, he's hitting .290. And this is in the air to Piedra in center. 2 outs.
Kennedy able to make pitches when he needs to. Did it there on Cabrera. Well, I was just going to tell everybody, if you'd like, sign up for Fantasy Camp. It runs January 15th through the 20th. For all your brochure and camp information, dial 303-312-CAMP. Or just get online with ColoradoRockies.com and get all the information you need.
Mike Lowell steps in, swings and misses. He has an interesting clause in his contract. He has a 4-year contract that will automatically kick in if the Florida Marlins have a new stadium deal by November 1st. If they do not, he has an option for next year. Runner takes off, and LaDuca will steal the bag standing up. So there's a possibility that he is a free agent at the end of the year if there is no announced stadium deal by November 1st. Very interesting clause in his contract.
Yeah, very odd.
And
clause in his contract. I mean, obviously this field gets used for double duty with the Miami Dolphins.
And this is a guy that is from this area. Mike Lowell went to Coral Gables High School. He hits a little pop out. There was a Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Ricoh. How well do you print, copy, scan, fax? How well do you share? By Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, cold down easy. By Honda Motorcycles, performance first. And by Geico, a 15-minute phone call could save you 15% on your car insurance. Never quite understood how that boat works without water underneath it. Perplexing. 1-0 Florida. Drew Goodman along with George Frazier from Pro Player Stadium. Rockies got in about 2:30 in the morning last night after playing a night game in Atlanta. Back to work tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, and then it's an off day Monday. Rockies will enjoy that off day in San Francisco. This ball is popped foul on the right side by Royce Clayton. Clayton was caught looking his first time up by Valdez. Rockies have 2 hits against Valdez, a Todd Helton 2-out double in the first, and then a leadoff single by Jeremy Burnitz in the second inning, but he was doubled up when Mark Sweeney hit a rocket right at Jeff Conine on a 3-2 pitch, and he was going. Hard on the ground, Alex Gonzalez, 1 out. Todd Helton coming up, and we understand back home it was a little chilly today and rather inclement. My wife told me looked like there were 2 rivers running next to the road. She was driving to pick up the kids today. 0-1 on Helton. 52 degrees, a little bit warmer down here in Florida. And you notice the humidity difference. I mean, as hot as it is in Atlanta, it's even hotter here.
Absolutely it is. Humidity will get a part of you here. As a player, it's very difficult to handle because it zaps your energy very quickly in a ball game. So for pitchers that come here, they usually can battle their way through it, but it's not easy. It takes an adjustment period.
Ball and 2 strikes on Helton. Todd has not had great numbers, as you can see there, at Pro Player. Where has he hit 237? Not too many parks he's hit down low. Used to be San Francisco. This is coming back up the middle. Base hit for Helton, behind in the count, doesn't matter. A 1-out knock for Helton. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
Well, you just can't get in the middle of the plate with Todd Helton. You know, notice what Helton likes to do, and that is take the ball the opposite way. Typically, pitchers throw him that way so much. Well, Helton, you get a ball in the middle of the plate, just drove it right back up the middle. Now, this is not the lowest average for Todd Helton. Dodgers Stadium coming into this year, 215 average.
What's he hit in San Francisco? You have that handy?
I will tell you shortly.
Vinny pulls it. It's at Lowell. There's 1, and Castillo makes the turn. 5-4-3. It's the second double play turn tonight by the Florida Marlins, and the Rockies are done in the 4th. 1-0 Florida. It'll take place at 2 p.m. Joe Kennedy set to go, and that's strike 1 on Jeff Conine. He doubled his first time up and scored the only run in the ball game. He has always hit Colorado hard. Now, he didn't hit the ball hard his first time up, so bloop double over Todd Helton's head in short right field. But this year against the Rockies coming in, he was hitting .643. He's now 9 of 12 against Joe Kennedy in his career, and overall close to .400 against the Rockies.
Pretty good fastball hitter, obviously. But he really likes the ball working away from him. You see his career numbers versus Kennedy, 9 for 12 with a couple of strikeouts. He likes the baseball out away from him. You try to counter that by coming in on his hand. Oh, Rockies fans, you'd like to dress like one of your favorite Rockies, just click to ColoradoRockies.com and click on. Shop for everything from players' jerseys, t-shirts, caps, and more.
Strike 3. Conine knew it.
Boy, how about that? That's the curveball and slide of the right hand up the bat. I know it. I'm just heading on back to the dugout because it's so nasty I can't hit it. I have no chance. to swing and do anything with this pitch. Look, Conan's back leg come forward. He just gave up on it and said, see you later. Watch that right hand. He just, yep, you're right, but goodbye.
4 strikeouts for Joe Kennedy in his last outing, a very good one against Montreal. Pitched into the 7th inning, 6 1/3, allowed just 1 run on 5 hits, walked 3, only struck out 1 that ball game. 4 punch outs, 1 walk in this one, 1-0 on Encarnacion. He was with Florida last year, then went to Los Angeles in the offseason and has come back to Florida. He was part of that LaDuca deal. Guillermo Mota.
Florida needed pop in their bat. That's what they went and got. They got Encarnacion, who played extremely well for the Marlins. In his previous stint, the Dodgers were looking to unload him once they got Finley.
Well, he was somewhat disappointing in LA, and he hasn't torn the cover off the ball here in Florida. He pops out here, and they're 2 gone. 2 outs for the switch hitter, the second baseman, Luis Castillo. He had a base hit and an RBI his first time up. Despite that, he's just 9 for his last 52 at the plate. It's about $160. This guy almost always hits the ball on the ground.
Particularly when he's hitting from the other side. I mean, just slap at the baseball and run, utilize his speed.
That's what you want. You're right.
See, on the right side, he tries to pull off the baseball.
That wasn't a ground ball swing.
And he thinks he has a little bit more power from the right side. And Kennedy's working awfully fast, but this front shoulder here, all it does is spin out away from the baseball.
Right on the outside corner. Joe Kennedy painted it.
I'm telling you. Kennedy's ball looks explosive at 90, 92 miles an hour. When you get out of altitude, you just have more confidence and able to throw the back breaking ball where you want to.
And the breaking ball there, swatted into center field for a 2-out knock on the ground.
From low first to give you a shot at Kennedy's delivery, very deceptive to the hitters, and this baseball just got by Kennedy before he could put some leather to it.
Now Kennedy has to bear down on Alex Gonzalez, the 8-hole hitter. He hit one off the top of the wall, the scoreboard in left center field his first time up, and you have to be wary of Castillo and the running game.
So what a guy's looking at right now from Kennedy is the way his weight will operate to the plate, and that's why a minute ago LaDuca got a pretty good jump. See, a lot of times with left-handed pitchers, it's very difficult once it starts the delivery.
Once popped out of
they start their move to the plate and their weight distribution falls to the ball of the foot, it's difficult. You can stand at home, try it. It's difficult to keep your balance and go to first base and not balk. And that's what these guys are looking for. See, that's what he's looking here to see as soon as all this starts to glide forward to make his move as far as trying to steal a bag.
Castillo 15 of 17, the stolen base department this year. Last year he was 21 of 40, which is a very poor percentage, particularly for somebody that has stolen 60+ bases in his career.
See, looking right here, he's looking at a move here with the foot on a 45-degree move. That's what your umpire's looking at. And if you take the move, and let's slow this down real quick, guys. If he takes this and comes too far here with his kick, then they're going to call a balk on it. So you got to make it, sell it, and then walk just like Joe did. That was a good job of it. Good pitch.
Real good pitch. He fans Alex Gonzalez. 5 strikeouts in the ball game for Joe Kennedy. There was a hit by Castillo. He is left at first base. 1 run in the ball game. Florida owns it. 1-0 Florida. We love you, Mikey. I don't know if that's Mike Lowell or just some guy named Mikey.
I think it's Mike Fox, our director.
Our what?
Our director.
Oh.
In television known as a director.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you did.
Jeremy Burnett's the lead off. Base hit for Burnett's his first time up. Marlins in their tenure in Major League Baseball have had 2 winning records.
Let me guess, both times they won a world championship.
Both times, George, they were the last one standing.
Man, a shame of all of it is in this crowd tonight on a Friday night. You look at it, 15 to 20,000 to watch the Marlins, even though there's 7 back in the wild card. I mean, it's an exciting baseball team to watch play the game.
Here's what they have to do when you talk about a new ballpark. The new ballpark has to only seat about 37, 38,000. It's going to be one of the smallest parks in baseball, and there's no need for a bigger stadium because they don't draw.
The only time you need the bigger stadium is playoffs, obviously.
Right. So you want a nice, small, intimate gathering. And then they need a roof. Strike 3 on Burnett's.
Right, just talk about painting the outside part. Jeremy doesn't think that it's there on the strike zone. It'll look like a good pitch from Valdez. Right out of the ball glove here to watch. This could be a 4-seam fastball. He doesn't want to create any movement, but he wants to be down with the pitch, and he wants it right on the black. I mean, how better could you frame it than to throw it right through your catcher, which he did.
Sweeney ripped the 3-2 pitch his first time up. The problem is he had a line drive right at Jeff Conine with Jeremy Burnett's running, turned into a double play. Sweeney has been the premier pinch hitter in baseball this year. He's going to get 4 at-bats in all likelihood tonight.
Well, now as you watch this ball game, 4 1/3 innings so far. How many fastballs have you seen Valdez throw to the inside half of the plate? Everything's been away.
This is driven right center field, and Encarnacion got a good jump again. Second time he's got in that gap and hauled one in. He took a double away from Aaron Miles.
Now, part of the reason he's able to cover the ground into the gap is defensively their outfielders, corner outfielders, is pinching the gaps is what it's called. You're going to pinch in at the gaps, give up your lines. With a guy like Sweeney, with a guy like Burnett, help. And it enables you to get those type of jumps and make catches on those type of balls. That ball was hit pretty hard, Drew, and it didn't even get, what, 380 feet from home plate? Not even that far. Air is so heavy here. So out in the fat part of the ballpark, left center, right center, you can hit it. A lot of times it's going to get caught because of the speed of Pierre and the way they play defensively.
One ball, one strike on Johnson. He flew to right field his first time up. Rockies have struggled at the plate lately. Over their last 11 games, they've scored only 32 runs. You do the math, that's less than 3 runs a game. In the recently completed series at Atlanta, with runners in scoring position, the Rockies were all of 4 of 26. That computes to 154. On the inside corner, another called strike 3. 4 strikeouts for Valdez, all of them looking. The Rockies done in the 5th. 1-0 Florida leading with George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Joe Kennedy has pitched well. Ishmael Valdez has pitched well. Time for a Geico Direct moment from Steve Reed. I'm still enjoying playing. As long as I feel I can compete and not embarrass myself, I can't see any reason to retire. And there's a lot of people who feel that way who are playing this game and other games as they get to what was once thought to be a real advanced age. I mean, guys are playing well into their 40s now.
Well,
Steve Reed's got a low ERA, George.
If you like the game, you still like putting the uniform on, then there's no reason to retire. With veteran players, they may slip a little bit velocity-wise, particularly as a pitcher, but their knowledge of how to pitch doesn't slip at all.
No, and Steve Reed's had a very fine year. Juan Pierre's grounded out twice. Once to Miles, once to Clayton. And ball one. Did you catch what happened a couple of days ago in that San Francisco series, George? Juan Pierre, in the first inning of a ball game, his second time up, because they scored 7 runs against the Giants in the first run.
Set the stage.
Yeah, it was.
Florida's leading 7-0 after the first inning.
After the first inning, and the first inning's still going on, and Juan Pierre is on first base, and he steals second. Well, Felipe Alou, and this will be a base hit to left, was quoted in the paper the next day as saying he thought it was Bush League that Pierre would run with a 7-run lead in the first inning.
Well, there is a cutoff of etiquette, typically the 7th inning. If you have a more than a grand slam lead to tie up. In other words, if I'm sitting there winning a game 6-1, you start stealing bases in the 8th and 9th inning. With one exception, then there's a little etiquette involved. If you're at Coors Field, there's no lead safe. So that etiquette disappears pretty quickly. It's part of that book that's yet to be written, but yet understood.
That's ball one with Pierre at first base. The next night, Pierre stole 3 bases.
Good for him. 1 inning, 7-0. I wish he would have stole 10.
Yeah, I found those comments by Alou a little perplexing.
Same as I did from Art Howe and Don Baylor when they complained of J.D. Klosser's slide, when both of those guys would come at you like a bulldozer into second.
I understand having to protect your players.
And
they were upset that Joe McEwing ended up breaking his leg.
So was J.D.
And so was J.D. Klosser, naturally. There goes Pierre. Here's the throw from Johnson in time. Did he get the tag on? You bet. Good job by Clayton to stay with it. And CJ got a lot on that throw. You don't throw Juan Pierre out often. And he is gone trying to swipe second base.
18th time this year that he has been thrown out. He's been successful 33 times. Has tied for second in the National League. Pierre's angle, he knows the ball's going to beat him. Look how far away from the bag he was as he fought to get back to it. I thought the hand as he came back and the tag applied. Does he get him there? No. Look how far Pierre is away from the bag. Now he makes the scramble back. His hand may have gotten under the tag of Royce Clayton. Take the out while you can, though. Hey, the first 20,000 people that come to the park on September the 8th, you'll receive a workout pass courtesy of 24-Hour Fitness. San Francisco Giants are in town.
Cabrera fouls it off, or LaDuca fouls it off, I should say, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Right field for Burnitz. And it turns into a real comfortable inning for Joe Kennedy. Both pitchers rolling along, 1 run in the game. Florida leading 1-0. And ball one on George Piedra leading off against Ishmael Valdez. Valdez is 2-0 this year against the Rockies. But you look at some of the other numbers and you say, huh? He's got an ERA close to 8. And the Rockies have hit, coming into tonight at least, .393 against Valdez.
His career is 8-2 versus the Rockies. I think that's a pretty big number.
Oh,
and you get plays like that.
Yeah.
That helps you out a lot when you have a defense behind you. It's working, but Valdez's home record this year alone is 7-2 and an earned run average of 2.78. That includes Petco in a very big ballpark, and now here A pro player where you have a huge outfield.
You talk about the heat, George.
He's taking a break, isn't he?
He's taking a break right now.
Just 62 pitches as he works into the 6th inning. It's difficult. People don't understand. You use every ounce of energy you have to throw a pitch. Then you break and get to first, get back. You got a little time to gather yourself before you approach your next hitter, whether it's a pitcher or not. Now the Rockies need to get some runs. Joe Kennedy has thrown extremely well.
It's kind of a typical Joe Kennedy ball game. The Rockies, there's always one guy in your staff, it seems like, that doesn't get a lot of run support, and this year it's been Joe Kennedy.
Well, think about this. Kennedy is 5-1 at Coors Field. He lifts this ball to right field, and Encarnacion is there for the plate. He is 5-1 at Coors Field with a great earned run average. Yet out on the road, he's 1-4 with an earned run average of 3.76. His last win came on May 5th versus the Montreal Expos. He's pitched numerous ball games out on the road that he should have walked away with a win. He just didn't get any run support.
Aaron Miles letting Joe Kennedy get to the dugout, sit down for a moment. 2 outs, nobody on.
Now, a 0.1 game on May 20th at Cincinnati. You'll remember that ball game. He had a no-hitter for 6, 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts. 9 strikeouts, the high in a single game this year for Kennedy. Well, he walked away with a loss there. San Francisco, 3 runs in 7 innings on the 30th of May, a loss there. No, 3 runs in 7 innings at Cleveland.
Yeah, suffice it to say, he has pitched much better than his record of 6-5.
Absolutely. He should have 10 to 11 wins right now.
In the air, left field, cruising over is Cabrera. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Valdez. He has given up just 3 hits, and he has not walked a batter. Pretty night in South Florida, joined by George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Happy as always that you guys are along. Joe Kennedy starts out the 6th inning, and Miguel Cabrera with strike 1. Kennedy has allowed 6 hits. He's walked 1 in the ball game, but just 1 run. It is the only run on the board. And that fastball cuts inside. 1-1. Cabrera is single in the 1st. Fly ball to center field in the 3rd. 21-year-old Venezuelan turned 21 in April. So he began the year at 20. And this ball hammered down the left field line. It'll run to the corner. And it should be a double.
Coming right at you down the left field line, out over the head of Vinny Castilla. Looked like a ball got up in the strike zone. He's so quick on the middle half with his bat. See, they're trying to come hard in on him. And he just gets the bad head out, jerks it down the line, and advances to second base. McKeon played small ball earlier. I don't think he will here. Yeah, he will. He had a little bunting to advance Cabrera.
I think it's a smart play. I mean, both pitchers, Valdez and Kennedy, pitching well.
Well, particularly when you haven't scored any runs of late. Lowell struck out in the 1st. And a soft pop-up to Helton at 1st in his 2nd at bat.
Right side, long run for Burnitz. He's going to make the catch now. Cabrera's trying to get to 3rd. Here's the throw. And he's safe. He stayed on the bag.
Well, what a throw by Burnitz. Very accurate. From where he caught it, momentum of going to get the baseball is difficult for Burnitz because you're taking yourself out. See here, he's coming this way. He's got to redirect and then throw the baseball. That's what made it difficult, made it possible for Cabrera just to beat this throw. And then Burnitz get right behind the throw, right out over the top of his cutoff man. One hopped right to Vinny Castilla. Cabrera hangs on to the 3rd base bag with that left hand. Watch when he slides. The left hand will grab the bag to hold him on the baseball, on the bagger. He's out because he'll slide beyond the bag as Vinny puts the tag and keeps it on him. It's a nice play by Castilla, too.
Rockies are going to put Jeff Conine on. Set up a possibility for a double play with Juan Encarnacion.
While he's walking, Jeff Conine, I'll tell you, a great pregame party. Check out the Coors Field picnic area starting at $19 a person. Get reserved space for your group of 25 to 500. A ballpark buffet for 2 hours prior to the game and a game ticket. There's availability throughout September. Space is filling up fast. 303-312-2444.
2 on, first and third. Juan Encarnacion with 1 out. Florida leading 1-0. Good pitch by Kennedy. Fooled Encarnacion. Third base is Cabrera. He doubled. And Conine at first after being intentionally passed. Bottom of the 6th inning.
I think part of Clint's thinking was with Encarnacion coming to the plate. He's hit into 11 double plays this year already, so it gives him a chance to get out of the inning with 1 pitch. Just don't make a mistake up into the strike zone. Kennedy's done a nice job tonight of keeping the ball moving down and in with the curveball or down and away with the fastball.
Conine takes off, hit and run down the right field line, and it is foul. I was a little closer than I thought it was going to be off the bat.
Well, he hit it so hard it straightened itself out versus slicing away, which is typical on a ball off the end of the bat of a right-handed hitter. You'd see that ball move away. That ball just stayed straight. You see only a couple of feet foul down the right field line. Conine has to pick the baseball up. See Cabrera thinking it was going to be fair. So did Cox. He was ready to send everybody to the house.
It remains a ball and 2 strikes, and Encarnacion, a guy that is not unfamiliar with the strikeout. And Joe Kennedy has had a good hook tonight. He has struck out 5. There's the curveball, ground ball to third. They're going to come home with it. And out at the plate.
Why didn't he slide?
Here's Cabrera. I don't know. It must have surprised him that the ball came home, because if he slides, he has at least a chance at being safe.
Well, the reason why is because CJ's standing straight up thinking, I can see him running right at me. He's going to step out. Now, CJ's got to get out in fair territory. See, CJ's got to get out here because he doesn't want Vinny to throw through the runner. He wants it to be around the runner. But see, CJ keeps the leg down in front of the plate and it just steps back and tags him. But if he hook slides or went into foul territory, now you might have made it a little more difficult on Charles Johnson to make that tag. Rockies may have caught a break there. But how about the heads-up play of Vinny Castilla? That was smart. He looks up, sees the runner right in front of him, doesn't try to turn 2, get that lead run because the ball was not hit hard enough to turn 2.
Rockies have now thrown 2 runners out at the plate tonight. 1 from the infield, 1 from the outfield. 1-1 on Luis Castillo.
Let's look back at this play with Vinny throwing the ball to the plate one more time. See, with Charles up, then he goes down here, and look what his leg's perfect. See his leg right there, right in front of the plate? You're not going to get through it. He's got the ball well in front, and he stands back up, and as he rotates away, if Cabrera comes out here and just slap tags it, makes it a lot more difficult play. was wondering, quite honestly, what Castillo was doing, because he was back against the cage versus up coaching, telling him to slide or make the move.
Good decision by Castillo, because that ball wasn't hit hard enough in all likelihood to turn 2 conventionally. 5-4-3. And the 1-0 game, and a game that at least right now doesn't figure with these 2 guys on the hill to have a lot of runs scored. Do what he did, worked out. In the air, center field. Piedra makes the catch, and no harm done in the inning despite a leadoff double by Miguel Cabrera. We'll go to the 7th. It is still 1-0 Marlins. This game cruising along, 1-0 Florida. We go to the top of the 7th inning. Ishmael Valdez has retired 7 in a row. Royce Clayton is set to go. Ishmael Valdez is set to go, and now Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire, is ready to go. Jim, the brother of Randy Wolf, left-handed pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. This ball rolled toward the hole and on through. So a good start to the 7th inning for Royce Clayton and the Rockies.
They're just looking for that window of opportunity, and Clayton again with a base hit through the hole in short and third. Helton, who has a double and a single in this ball game.
There's one, tag play at second. It goes into left field. Clayton hesitated, and now he's got to hustle to third, and he is safe. But it was a close play on the throw from Cabrera.
Well, you know what I want to know? What in the heck was Castillo doing at short? Excuse me, Gonzalez doing at shortstop? Are you kidding me? What was he doing?
No, he was when the ball went over his head, he was trying to bluff.
No. It looked like he was trying to fake the guy that they were turning a double play. The ball went through. Oh, never mind. Yeah. From our angle, it looked like it went right over the top of him.
Right,
he was only about
close.
60 feet away. Let me ask you this in the question now. What was Conine thinking about?
Well, he was thinking about turning 2, but he made a very bad throw.
Turning 2 where? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wouldn't have caught that ball.
Rockies have a great opportunity to take advantage of that error and tie it up with Vinny up there. Infield in.
Fourth error on Conine. Well, I tell you, Vinny, good fastball hitter. Try to take that ball. I guarantee you they'll work something away from him to try to get ahead, as it did on the first pitch, and then come back in again.
Comebacker, kick saved by Valdez.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. And he is hurt. Well, it wouldn't be a ball game of late if we didn't see a pitcher go down on a comebacker.
No kidding.
I mean, how many times this happened in the last week to 10 days?
Montreal 2, Dolman 3 the other day. You know, when he got hit in the neck.
Happened against the Mets.
Mets with, yeah, 4. 5 here. So I thought somebody in Atlanta. Yeah, Dolman got hit in Atlanta.
Dolman got hit badly, got hit in the neck.
Well, that's going to be it. They're going to go down to the bullpen. Man, 6 2/3 innings. Tell you what, this ball was hit right back to the mound. And as he started to kick for this baseball, now watch his ankles. I mean, you know, he follows through on the first base side. The ball's hit. He just collapsed down on his ankle and blocks the ball out in front of him. As he gets back up, you can see, I mean, and remember, Valdez is a big man. He's 6'5". He has a lot of difficulty throwing the baseball. Yeah, he gets it over to first base in 6 2/3 innings. The Rockies only able to get 4 hits against him.
1-0. Matt Parasho is on Coors Light pitching change with 2 outs in the 7th inning. Clayton's at third. Here's Burnett's.
Well, he's the only lefty they have down in their bullpen, so he's the specialty guy out of their bullpen. 55 appearances now, 4-2 record. In just 36 innings. You see, that's a third of an inning here, and it's probably more than likely all he will get. He does his job to get Burnett's.
Parasho indeed gets Jeremy Burnett, who has been hitting left-handers very well. 323 on the season. The Rockies had a great chance. Rockies had a great opportunity to take advantage of a mistake, an error by Jeff Conine. They had Royce Clayton at third with 1 out, and they couldn't cash him in. Joe Kennedy still out there, and he gets a strike on Alex Gonzalez. 8-9-1 for the Florida Marlins.
Joe Kennedy deserves an opportunity to win this baseball game. He will hit 4th in the 8th inning.
Mike Mordecai has come out on deck in the pitcher's spot. And the 1-1 to Gonzalez is away, 2-1.
Yeah, don't forget, not only do they have Benitez with 36 saves, but Billy Koch is a former closer that throws it. If he wanted to come out in a setup role,
well, the deal is
Mota would be pitching the 8th.
Yeah,
that's the big man.
Yeah, Mota's going to pitch the 8th. Right now, Billy Koch is kind of buried in that bullpen. George, he has not been throwing strikes.
Well, the only reason I brought that up, he was up in the 7th inning throwing, and then when they brought the lefty in, he set back down again. And how many times do you have guys with the closing ability of a club? The only other one, Cincinnati had a ton of closers down in their bullpen at one time.
On the ground, a very tough pickup on the backhand side. A short hop grabbed by the vacuum Vinny Castilla. Better than Hoover at third. 1 out.
Well, the thing about Vinny is such soft hands and understands his game. I'll repeat that so well. He knows he doesn't. A lot of third basemen felt they had to shift over to get to that baseball. They feel at times that you have to play close to the line late in the game. Well, Vinny has such great range to his non-glove side that he doesn't need to hug the line.
And now a change. It'll be Damon Easley instead of Mike Mordecai. Curveball for a strike. Yeah, I mean, Joe Kennedy has pitched a wonderful ball game, but he is down 1-0 on a broken bat double by Jeff Conine. He'd come around to score. He easily pops it up. Miles going out, and this will be Aaron's baseball. 2 gone. Clint was giving Aaron Miles a hard time the other day after he and his fiancee brought in baby girl into the world earlier this week. He said, you know, the guy shows up. He said, this isn't a new tradition. He goes, I didn't get my cigar. And Clint loves his cigars. He said, well, this isn't some tradition that began last month. And he said the bubblegum version would not suffice.
Those don't work?
No, they don't work. You have 2 managers who love their cigars tonight.
Boy, you do.
And Jack McKeon.
Yes, you do.
Juan Pierre tops it right to Joe Kennedy. And Kennedy rolls on. A 1-2-3 7th inning. Rockies need some offense. Down 1-0. We're off to inning number 8 in South Florida. Back in Florida, it is 1-0. Top of the 8th inning. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, and Florida turns to Guillermo Mota, the Dodger, until about 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, look at that record though, 9-5. He enters so many games with the score tied or down 1 because they know offensively they typically come back with him on the hill. 3 or 4 in save opportunities, earned run average of 212. He's given up 6 home runs and 76 in the 3rd innings. And he'll stay here in Florida. who's pitched very well for the Marlins, as you would expect from Mota.
The 2.03 ERA in 10 games. He did blow a save a couple days ago against San Francisco.
By the way, you got a group of 50 to 80 people. You want them to have an unforgettable ballpark experience. Great price. The Warning Track Party Room, $58 per person. 312-2444.
Sweeney was on that fastball at 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, he can turn on the heat. It's a matter of where the right location. Bonds hit his 36th tonight, a 3-run home run. San Francisco 3, Atlanta nothing. St. Louis now leads Pittsburgh 6-2. If you just joined us, Houston over Chicago 15-7. Kerry Wood started that game for Chicago.
George, Atlanta's tied up San Francisco in that ball game 3-3. Jared Wright on the hill for the Atlanta Braves. Kurt Reeder, the starter for San Francisco. Sweeney takes away 1-2. And he took something off, and he fans Mark Sweeney.
A lot of times you get traded away from a ball club like the LA Dodgers. For Mota, you come here to Florida, where the Latin community is so prevalent here. Dominican Republic, an hour flight, 45-minute flight away from here. And a lot easier for family to come watch you pitch at the big league level.
Johnson can tie it with one swing. Fly ball right field, caught looking for CJ tonight. And he drives it to right field down the line. Long run and the dive by Encarnacion. He didn't come up with a baseball. Good effort.
Well, you know, this is almost what you'd call in the dugout, you'd say it's a TV dive. I'm not sure he dives and lands, and then the ball's about 10 feet on the other side of it.
You giving him the false hustle award?
Pardon me?
You giving him the false hustle award?
No false hustle, just the TV award. Tonight he gets it.
2-1 on
See, that's
Johnson.
a lot of times. It's like, you know, Jim Edmonds in St. Louis sometimes. He'll make one of those special catches and just time it where he dives perfectly to make the catch. They are a thing of beauty to watch.
That's not there. 3-1. Florida at the beginning of the day trailing the Braves by 9.5 games in the National League East. 7 back in the wild card. 3-2. Ball 4. Mota turned away in disgust. He just walked Charles Johnson. George Piedra coming up.
And they'll pinch run for CJ and bring in Freeman to run the bases. So J.D. Klosser will catch the 8th inning. Tim Harikla warming up down in the Rockies bullpen. Valdez, a left Achilles strain, will be evaluated further tomorrow. Harikla took the loss in Atlanta the other night. One of the few times he has not pitched well for the Rockies this year. J.D. Closser out in the on-deck circle to hit for Kennedy.
Rockies a man short offensively on their bench. And Piedra's out in front.
Now, you know, you say that, and I agree with you 100%. The Rockies just have one little bit of a twist to their deal. They could always go to Kennedy on the left-handed pinch hitter. Excuse me, Jennings on the left-hand side to swing the bat if you needed to pinch hit early in a ball game.
Well, all these new stadiums, not that Pro Players a baseball stadium, nor is it new, but you can do everything you need to get ready for a game for the most part, except one thing, and that is if you're a pinch runner, there's no place where you're really going to be able to run sprints and get real loose. Obviously, you can stretch.
Yeah, most of the time they stretch, and then they'll sprint over to first and typically jog by the bag a little farther than they're supposed to, get back and get ready to go. I mean, umpires aren't going to allow you time to do what Drew's talking about, and that's run some sprints to get ready.
1-2 in the air, right center field. Long run for Watt Pierre. He'll get there.
Well, Mota finally gave him a pitch to hit. Everything was down and away from him. Pierre with a long catch. Here's center field on a fastball, middle half in.
It was more of a high fly ball as opposed to a line drive, and it hung up. 2 gone. J.D. Closser coming up. George, let me ask you a question.
The answer is yes, because I'm thinking of the same thing. Since you're going to double switch with Closser, do you try to steal Freeman to put him into position to score with Closser up? And that answer is yes.
Thank you. I mean,
because Closser's in the game already because Johnson's been pinch ran for. I'm not managing, but that's what I would do.
Well, we've been hanging out too much together.
Way too much.
You're answering my questions before I asked them. Closser takes a healthy cut, didn't get any baseball.
Closser's hit well since he came here. 410 average for Closser.
Two for 4 last night in a start in Atlanta. Freeman stays put. Now it's 0-2.
Pretty hard sinker there for Mota. Benitez starting to warm up in the Marlins bullpen.
Though you don't think of Benitez quite in the class of the guy you just saw, Smoltz or Gagne. The way he has pitched this year in the 9th inning, George, he's not far behind.
Well, he's kind of the forgotten man where he made a name for himself with Baltimore before going to the New York Mets. He's dangerously fast and has a closer type attitude.
Well, the Rockies are going to have to do it against Benitez in the 9th because they couldn't get Mota in the 8th. 1-0 Florida. Who would have thought that 1 run early in the ball game would be holding up here in the 8th?
Boy, had an opportunity. The Rockies trail 1-0. Johnson was walked, Freeman pinch hit, and then J.D. Closser came up with 2 outs and Freeman at first base. Yeah, good heater, man. Look at the movement on that thing from Mota. Then he came right back, went to the same location, swing and a miss again. Then he ended it when he tried to go ahead and put the movement down and away again. And Closser reached out and was able to hit the ground ball, but right at Castillo, the second baseman, and that was the end of the inning for the Rockies. That pitch by pitch brought to you by Quest. Tim Hurricla into his 46th ball game of the year. He'll face LaDuca, Cabrera, and Lowell.
Trying to keep it a 1-run game. And that's the ball. Tim Hurricla from Florida Atlantic University. That's just a few minutes away. This ball left up, and it is hit well to right center field. Pietra puts out his hand, says, I got it, and he does.
LaDuca left one ballpark in Chavez Ravine Dodger Stadium where the ball didn't carry because of the coolness, because of where it's set in that valley. It came to this one with the heavy air. That ball didn't go anywhere. Nice play by Pietra in center field. Boy, oh boy, did Kennedy pitch well. Man, oh man.
Well, I mean, think about it. He's on the short end, George, but he gives up 7 hits in 7 innings, strikes out 5, walks 2, 1 intentionally. And most importantly, he gave up just 1 run.
He was outstanding. 2 walks in the ball game for Kennedy.
Cabrera, a couple of hits in the ball game. He's behind 0-2. Rockies will have the top of the order in the 9th against Benitez. Miles, Clayton, and Helton, and hopefully beyond that. Strike 3 on Cabrera. Let's take a look at our rejuvenating play of the game. Brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Runner on third base. Ground ball to Benny. Comes home with it. And they're tagged by Charles Johnson. One of 2 men thrown out at home plate tonight by the Colorado Rockies. Or Just for Men Hair Color, rejuvenating play of the day. That's going to be a base hit. And thinking about 2 right now is Lowell, and he'll get into second with a double, and that's big. Mike Lowell rounded first. He said, I can get to second.
Well, because of the angle and where Piedra was playing, where he was. Now, because of the pitch, look at it. It's up in the strike zone, not where Hurricula wanted it. He wanted it down about knee height, and then you get that ground ball versus his line drive out into left center field. Sweeney's got to come circle the baseball. Piedra was over in the right center, so he had quite a distance to go to get to the baseball. That allowed Lowell to get into second base and in scoring position.
And he extends his hitting streak to 12 games. That is best for any Marlin this year. Your other players had 11-game hitting streaks. They're going to pass on Jeff Conine. And again go to Juan Encarnacion, the slumping Juan Encarnacion.
Now, Conine's average with men in running and scoring position just 265, but Clint and Bob Apodaca obviously like the matchup of Hurricula versus Encarnacion.
Encarnacion's 0 for his last 10 at the plate. Conine at first, Lowell at second. Florida trying to pick up an insurance run.
Now this is big right now for Hurricula and the Rockies. I mean, he needs to get out of this inning.
Yeah, Benitez doesn't need much help.
No, but sometimes he can give you a little window of opportunity and get flustered at times. He's very difficult to beat. Encarnacion 0 for 3 lifetime against Hurricula.
And a base hit to right. Burnitz has to wait on it. This will get Lowell to the plate. And going to third is Conine, and Encarnacion messes up the Rockies' strategy. 2-0 Florida.
You got a ball up in the strike zone to a very good fastball hitter after getting ahead of Encarnacion with the fastball in. See, this ball's going to be right along here in this path. That ball's not going to be down where he wants it down here. And as a result, it becomes a very hittable pitch, and Lowell sees that ball scoot to the right side, respecting Burnitz's arm. He's running as hard as he can to score the second run of this ball game. And man, oh man, is that a big run.
Well, you knew it was big, George, when Lowell was able to turn what you hoped would be a single into a double and get in scoring position with 2 outs. 2-0 Florida. With Castillo at the plate.
Balk.
And now it's 3-0.
Hurricula wants to know what he did too to Wolf. And you can't question a balk. And he's going to go out and ask Fielding Colbreth what he did. Maybe we have a shot of it here. Clint's talking to him.
Did you pick something up, George?
Well, I haven't seen it. I didn't. When I looked at it in the very beginning, I didn't see it. See if he starts to move. Watch the hand. Watch right here. Does he do? See, he started to tilt forward. That's not a balk. He's looking in to get a sign. What did he do? Hey, Wolf made a mistake there. I didn't see a balk. See, he didn't make a movement with his hands. Nonetheless, now you got a 3-0 ball game. And a runner in scoring position. I sure didn't see a balk. Let's go back and look at it again very quickly. See, as an umpire, you're looking for some move. Let's hold it, guys. Don't do anything with it right now. See that little tilt move there? See, that may have been what he was thinking about. Back it up, do it again. Now Rick was looking at it, and what he did, he just moved a little bit.
One ball and 2 strikes on Luis Castillo. 3-0 Florida.
All right, now look at this one more time, because if you make a movement as you're starting the motion, all right, now watch this upper body, see if it tilts forward. See, a lot of pitchers will set, and when a hitter gets set, then they'll like move their head forward to look for the sign. See, he just moved about an inch and then stopped. And all of a sudden, boom, balk's called. I didn't see it. I don't personally think it was a balk.
Well, a balk is called when the pitcher intentionally does something to deceive a runner. And I'm in agreement with you. I don't know if there was anything there that would have deceived the runner. It looked like what you said. He was peeking in to get a sign. Castillo's gone, but the damage is done. The Rockies, instead of having to battle back from down 1 run, they're now down 3, and Armando Benitez is coming in for the Marlins. We'll go to the 9th at Pro Player Stadium. Well, there is Armando Benitez, 3-0 Florida. All he's done of late is retired 12 consecutive hitters, 6 by a strikeout, and he has not allowed a hit since returning from the disabled list on August 13th. Been that good. In fact, over the last 17 games, the opposition 3 for 29 against Benitez. So you got to look at it the other way. Somebody's due to get after him. Maybe a bunch of guys are due to get after Benitez.
No, there's no question. He'll come right at you with a fastball that's going to range anywhere from 89 to 95, 96 miles an hour, whether he sinks it or gives you the four-seamer. Hard slider. Mota did his job. 1 inning, a hit, and a strikeout.
So Aaron Miles will lead it off against Benitez, who has 36 saves this year. And the first pitch is out of the zone. Benitez was an all-star. Funny what a difference a year makes. The Mets got rid of Benitez. Felt like he had lost his ability to be a reliable closer, and here he is in Florida, as good as it gets. They basically traded closers, as it turns out. Braden Looper, the Marlins closer last year, is now at
remember
Shea Stadium making his living.
Remember, Looper lost his job the last month and a half of the season to Urbina. Urbina was the closer in the playoffs in the World Series, and man, they said we can't sign Urbina back. He wanted a ton of money. They were able to just swap out because McKeon had lost faith in Looper as a closer.
Here's the 2-1 to Miles, fouled off 2-2.
Mets obviously saw a lot of things in Braden Looper that they did like, and Jack McKeon loves Benitez. Makes your job a little easier as a manager when you can hand the baseball in the 9th inning to somebody like Benitez.
He comes right after you. That fastball at 97 miles an hour. .233 lifetime saves for Benitez. That's 26th all time. But his success rate of 86% is 3rd all time. 2-2 on Miles. 3-2.
I think part of the reason you have success with Latin players is the community here that backs you. I mean, it's almost as if they're pitching at home. And if you could go to winter ball and watch what happens. I mean, these guys are gods down there. I mean, people can't wait to see them come out of the ballpark and shake hands and high fives and walk down the streets. And I think that when they get into this type of an environment here in southern Florida, from South Florida, you know, a lot of their countrymen live here, and they come to watch them pitch here. It's a home game for them.
And Benitez wins the duel with Aaron Miles. One out in the ninth. Royce Clayton has one of the Rockies hits tonight. He's 1 for 3. Take a look at our Taco Bell in-game box. There haven't been many hits tonight. 2 for Todd Helton, 1 for Burnitz. 4 hits in all for Colorado. The only extra base hit was a double by Helton in the first. That came with 2 outs. Rockies' funk offensively continues tonight.
Well, last night, Royce Clayton turned around a slider from John Smoltz with 1 out and a base hit in the 9th inning. If he can keep it going and get into position for Helton to swing the bat against Benitez.
1-1 to Royce. He didn't get that fastball. 97 again on the heater.
Yeah, sometimes there's just not a lot of guesswork with this guy. When he's on the hill and he's pumping at 97 miles an hour. For a catcher, you just sit back and go, hey, here it is, throw it. 97, that's nothing. I've had 98 with Mr. Gagne LaDuca-Sal. You rush that up at 97. Second strikeout here in the ninth.
And the Rockies down to their final out. And Todd Helton coming up. Todd trying to get the Rockies going with 2 outs, and he takes strike 1. One ball and 1 strike. Benitez with the luxury of knowing Helton can't hurt him even if he hits it 5 miles. It's the benefit of having 2 runs scored in the bottom of the 8th. Balls, 2 strikes. Rockies in danger, going 0-4 on this road trip, the longest of the season, a 12-gamer. And tomorrow will be Jason Jennings against Carl Pavano, who's 14-5, but 9-1 in the second half. 3-2. No television, by the way, tomorrow. We're back on the air on UPN 20. 11 in the morning on Sunday. Sean Estes against A.J. Burnett. Actually, let me correct that. It's a 1 o'clock Mountain Time start. And ball 4. So Helton aboard for Castilla. If you're the Rockies, when you're down to your last out, all you can hope for is to somehow, some way bring the tying run at the plate and somebody who can hit it out. If Vinny gets on, the guy behind Vinny can certainly hit him out. And that is Jeremy Burnitz with 32 home runs this year. But first things first, Vinny has to extend things. Helton will run to second. Strike one on Castilla. Believe it or not, Vinny's faced Armando Benitez only 5 times. 1 for 5 in his career. They thought there'd be more confrontations between these two as long as both have been around. And it's fouled straight back. Bounces up there, and LaDuca kept it in his neighborhood.
Bounced up there, barely cleared the grass. Got out about 15 feet in front of the plate. LaDuca thinking, what is this? I mean, this ball hits right out, and I mean, it's crazy. Look at that thing. At 88 miles an hour, LaDuca barehands it off his, really kind of off his forearm, and I said, I better stretch it out a little bit and see if I can get it to 98 with this next fastball. Not comfortable throwing the breaking ball or his split for strikes. Still not easy to catch up to it.
Yep, on the ground to Lowell, and that'll end the ball game. The Rockies have now lost 5 consecutive games, and they are shut out tonight in South Florida, 3-0. We'll give our Gatorade player of the game to Armando Benitez with his 37th save. And the starting pitcher was pretty good, Ishmael Valdez. 3-0 final here in Florida. So the Rockies 0-4 so far on this road trip. Will come back to Pro Player Stadium in a couple of moments. But right now, let's get it to Denver.